Welcome to What's Happening in Miami County. Here's your hosts, Don Smith and Bill Cartwright.
Good afternoon. I'm Don Smith.
And I'm Bill Cartwright.
And we're at the YMCA having an off-studio shoot today.
The new YMCA.
Yes, and we're going to do a tour a little later in the program, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, what you been doing?
Well, I haven't been doing a whole lot, really. Just mowing grass, mostly, because it's growing like crazy.
Mowing grass?
Yeah.
I got to do that when I get home. It takes 8 minutes.
I've got to do it when I get home, too, and it takes about an hour and a half.
Oh, dear. Well, that's okay.
Yeah. But other than that, we haven't been doing a whole lot. We've had a good weekend, just kicking back and relaxing. How about you? What have you been doing?
Well, I had a couple of things go on. I had dinner in Covington at Bosco's. That was kind of nice. I don't know how I got included. My wife and I got included because that was dealing with Covington people all getting together to have a meeting, a discussion just around their city, and we got included. But we know some of the people over there, so the food was good, and that's all that was important with that. And I got a suggestion from them that one of these days in the future, we should take a tour of the Newberry Township building, because that building has been purchased by Doug Haynes, and it was a theater at one time.
Yeah.
And so it's currently not in use, but he owns it, and it has lots of good ideas for it. So we may put that into the program so that we can see that building inside one of these days in the near future.
That'd be good.
Then I cooked at the Bethany Center, and that was all good, but we made mac dogs. Mac dogs is something I made up, kind of. It's a mac sauce on a hot dog.
Yeah. Hot dogs are your favorite food, aren't they?
Well, depends. If they have chicken in them, no. I have to have Hebrew National or any other beef hot dog because I don't eat chicken, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And so, these were a little suspect as to they might have had chicken, so I didn't eat them. But anyway, the group seemed to think they were something unique and good, and they're getting a new stove over there, and when they do that, we're going to have a little bit of a program about that too, because it's really a good thing.
Well, and that's something I did too, was I cooked at Bethany Center.
See, you forgot to say that.
Yeah, I forgot to say that.
And that's important.
I know.
So anyway, and then we went to the Do Good restaurant, and we did some Do Good. It's a really great place up north, and we had a nice dinner up there. And then sadly, my flower shop had Judy Ward working there. Judy was in her late 80s when she retired, and now has passed away, and that was a sad thing. We attended that service.
She was a super lady.
She was a super lady. The only person I knew in that age range who could do modern arrangement. She was really amazing. And then the library had a Discovery Day where they brought in animals, I guess they're animals. One was potential sharks or penguins from the Newport Aquarium. And so that was a great thing for the children in the community, and we were involved in that as well. So those are kind of the things that were going on around our house. What else we got to do here? Let's just see.
Yeah, let's see.
You know about the boysenberries. We talked about boysenberry
Yes, we
syrup.
did.
You know what happened? I'm excited. Somebody actually called me and told me what boysenberries are made of, what the syrup is made of, and I was really excited to find that out because we didn't know. Well, do you know? Boysenberry syrup is made of 4 kinds of berries. And there is loganberries, there is red raspberries, there's blackberries, there is dewberries. Do not ask me what dewberries are. I have no idea what dewberries are, but they're in the boysenberry syrup, and I had my wife made for me some waffles, and guess what was on them?
Yes.
Boysenberry syrup from Smucker's. So it was really a good thing.
Dewberries.
Dewberries, yep. And then another thing I wanted to mention is, too, the class is going to be having a 50th class reunion in August, and that's kind of a cool thing. Lisa, formerly Steinhilber, Dave, currently Thomas, Dave Thomas and Lisa are married, and they stopped by the house to invite me to the class reunion in August. So those of you who are a part of the class need to start marking your calendar for that too, because that's a really good thing.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Well, I have a few other events real quick that I can mention some, and then I'll mention some more later. But of course, we want to remember the the farmers market in downtown Piqua here every Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. That's every Thursday. And then there is Cherry Street Farmers Market in Troy, another farmers market, and that's June 15th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's really important for us to support the local farmers and their produce because, and besides that, the produce usually is fantastic. It's very good. So keep those in mind, those dates in mind. And then the third Thursday in West Milton, that's June 20th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that's in downtown West Milton, and there'll be live music, craft vendors, and food trucks, along with many stores that will be staying open late. So make sure, mark that on your calendar if you want to go, and should be a fun time. And
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, I think it will be. And then there's Vintage in the Village, which is downtown Tip City. I think Kay and I went to this last year. My wife and I went to this last year, and it was really nice. They had a lot of different things going on, and it's in Tip City from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. A lot of the local shops will be open. There'll be other vendors there. It'll just be a lot of fun. That's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the big thing here, another big thing here in Piqua, the Rock and Roll Car Show, which goes in conjunction with the Rock Piqua Food Truck and Music Festival. And that's in, of course, downtown Piqua. And that's June 22nd. And that's 12 noon to 5 p.m. And it should be really interesting. They have a lot of great artists coming, featuring Jamie Suttle from 7 to 10. She's a country singer and songwriter. She's done very well. Tyler Cochran Trio, which sounds great. They play blues and jazz and that type. And then Kid and the Riff Raft. And then the last is the Bucket List Players, which that sounds very intriguing. But that starts at, the concerts start at 1 p.m. To 2:30. And of course, it's free, and it's in downtown Piqua. So make sure to mark that on your calendar. And then I have some others that I can do in a little bit.
Well, I want to thank Chris Measing for the last program. He did a great job of explaining the Lock 9 and what's going to happen out there at the old hotel. And I'm real excited about those events. And we were really privileged to also have the opportunity today to walk through the YMCA. And when I called Jim and asked him if we could do that, he said, well, it takes about an hour and a half. And so I told him he had 30 minutes, and we didn't quite worry about that too much, but he did a great job, and we're going to show that right now. Hello, it's Don Smith, and I am really excited because we are in the new YMCA. We're going to be talking to Jim McMacken, who's the executive director. Bill and I are going to do some interview, but the entire program is going to be kept inside the Y. So, but it's not a whole bunch of stuff is going to go on. So get out your pen and paper because you're going to have to write things down because I want you to remember some stuff. And then we're going to we'll skip to the other things we need to do. But first we need to welcome Jim and thank him for allowing us to come to the YMCA before the public. This makes it really exciting for all three of us.
It's very exciting.
Anyway,
yes.
Jim, thank you for allowing us to come.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate the interest.
So tell me, the first question everybody has asked me who knew we were going to do this is, when is it going to be open to the public? Your turn.
Soon. I like to say we're one day closer, but in all seriousness, we probably need about another 30 to 45 days to wrap it up.
Well, it looks really good, so why?
Construction's done for the most part. The hard construction, brick, mortar, paint, all of that's finished. So right now it's all the internal operations. The networks our remote door access controls, our wireless access points, all of those internal things that we need in place to open this facility successfully to our membership.
Okay, that's because you know how to use all that stuff. You see, everything you mentioned, I wouldn't have any idea what to do with it. Bill, you got any questions?
Well, I just wanted to say it's beautiful. What we're looking at is really gorgeous. And there's so much light. So can you address that? Why? It's just wonderful.
We're really proud of the way the building turned out. Our architect, Taylor Architects out of Muncie, Indiana, H.A. Dorston out of Minster was our general contractor. They did a phenomenal job. One of the goals that the architect had in this building was to make sure there was plenty of natural light. Right. So you'll notice when you come through this building that you'll see natural light all the way from the east side of the building flowing through the west side of the building. So at any time of the day, there's always natural light in this building. Our current building, you know, it's a 1963 model. It's been well kept and served us well, but lighting on the inside was, at least natural lighting, was a real deficit.
I noticed that too. Yeah, when I would use the Y over there, it was like going down into a dungeon.
People have referred to the basement as the dungeon.
As the dungeon,
yes.
and
There's no natural light in the fitness center. When you see the fitness center in this building, which we're now calling the Wellness Center, you'll be amazed how much natural light's in that space.
I'm looking forward to it.
It may be the first time in the history of the Piqua branch where we have too much natural light in the fitness center.
Well, what we should tell the people out there who are watching us too is we're actually on the second floor right now, we're in what you've called the second floor lobby.
Second floor lobby.
And we're going to break now for a second and move to a different location. So stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Well, we're back, and we're now in the fitness center, and it's a beautiful, beautiful setup here. All this wonderful equipment, and so how far along is it being all put together?
We're getting close. We probably have about another 2 weeks of construction in this building, at least not physical construction of the building, but putting all the equipment together. All the cardio equipment in here is all brand new cardio equipment. When I say cardio, I'm talking about things like treadmills, ellipticals, bikes. Each of the pieces of cardio have their own personal viewing screens, which are smart screens connected to the internet.
Nice.
You can do Pluto TV, all the local channels, and you can also Chromecast off of your personal device onto the screens of our cardio equipment. This is the first time in the history of the Piqua branch of the Miami County YMCA where we've actually combined the fitness center space and the free weight space. So we'll have free weights on the north end of this building, and then all of the cardio equipment on the east side facing out the windows where there's lots of natural light.
Yep.
Again, first time in the history of the Piqua branch where we've got natural light coming into the fitness center. And then we've got a whole new series of the pre-course selectorized equipment. And the selectorized equipment is the equipment where you can change the pin weights. So the company that's installing all of this for us, as I said, has about another 2 weeks worth of work in here.
When I look at all of this, I think dollar signs.
We were very fortunate. This entire project, including what you're seeing in this space, was all funded by generous community members. This was part of our furniture, fixtures, and equipment budget, and we purchased Precor equipment to the greatest degree that we can. We find Precor equipment holds up the best, and it's also mostly made in the United States.
Well, that's really a good thing. I'm just amazed at all of the equipment that's in here. How many people can this handle at one time?
So this room could handle about 90 people at one time. This space is about 2.5 times larger than the space we have across the street in the fitness center. It seemed a lot larger to us when it was empty, but we've managed to fill it up. Heather Seaver, our health and wellness director, has done an absolutely incredible job of pretty much hand-picking about everything you see in this space. We worked very closely with Precor, and of course Precor helped us design and set up the room so the equipment would flow as folks were using it.
Very nice. And I have a question about the old Y there again. And I know the equipment's probably pretty worn out, but
going to happen with the old equipment?
So it's all getting traded in. And as we
nice.
discussed, it's all in the basement. It's a bear to get that stuff out of the basement. Most of it has to be dismantled and taken up the elevator or up the steps. And not only is the equipment being traded in, but the company that is offering us the trade-in dollars for it is also going to move it all out for us.
Oh, nice.
So there is a few pieces that are still in very nice condition that will be transferred to the Robinson branch, and then a few pieces at Robinson will be traded in. But we still have some equipment in the current building that was part of the original 1963 building. So
Don't be saying 1963 like it's a long time ago. I was in high school.
it was durable stuff.
Well, yeah, well, it's a long time ago. But
So some of that will probably turn into boat anchors.
There you go. There you go.
okay, well, it's just amazing to me to look at what I'm seeing here. And you know, I'm not very good at exercising. I prefer to sit down when possible. But
There's lots of pieces of equipment you could sit down on in here.
yeah, I know, but then you have to work. But it really is an impressive area, and I'm really looking forward to our next stop. Hello, we're in the most important room in the new Y because we have the marlin right here laying on the floor. And what I understand you're telling me is that people are most often interested in what's happening to the fish.
Yes, this fish that we're looking at's been hanging in the current building's natatorium for almost 50 years. There's a story behind it. I won't go into a lot of details, but it will, you know, so many people have been asking us, what's going to happen to the fish? What's going to happen to the fish? So we took the fish down, and we thought it was going to be in pretty bad shape after being in that humid, chlorine environment, but it's really in really nice condition. So it's traveling across the street with us into the new building, and it will hang in the natatorium. We just haven't hung it up yet.
It looks like it's pretty happy to be here. I mean,
It is happy.
if you
It's
call
got-
that a
it's got a
smile, I don't know.
on his face.
But we're really in the room where the bicycling occurs,
Yep.
right?
This is the group cycling room. It's one of our 3 group exercise spaces in this building. Group cycling across the street occurred in what was an old office up on the 2nd floor. It was a wonderful space, but it was just a little tight. This space is about twice the size, really about 2.5 times the size. Has an HVAC system in it that was designed to handle lots of individuals in here sweating. Exercising. The participants' bikes over here that are kind of parked along the side of the building now, or side of the room, will all face north, and then the instructor's bike will be mounted on a platform on the north side of the room, and it will face south. So we have 20 bikes. We've got one for the instructor, and then 19 participant bikes.
And everybody's going to be able to watch themselves do it because I see those huge mirrors down there.
We've got to have mirrors in all of the group exercise spaces. Folks like to make sure that they're using their right form.
There you go.
Yep.
That's for sure. So how many people do you usually have using the biking?
So when group cycling started off, probably 20 years ago at the Y, it was very popular. It waned a little bit until we got new bikes in 2012. And then we repurposed one of those spaces across the street and actually turned it into a cycling room. And then it picked up in popularity again. And it's maintained that pretty much that level of popularity since 2012. It's dropped off a little bit from time to time. Oftentimes in good weather months, the real diehard cyclers like to get outside and ride their road bikes. So we see the enrollment for these classes pick up when the weather's bad, typically over winter.
Yep. Okay.
Well, that sounds like a really good thing. I was once on a bike with my wife. We had a tandem bike, you know, and I bought the tandem
Were you
thinking
pedaling?
this would be, well, yeah, because how else to get it to move?
Well, maybe she was just pedaling.
Well, see, the thing was, we got on it at Alston Manor, and we went down to Keenly Drive, and when we got down there, I wanted to check into the nursing home that was down there, because I felt like that was as far as I could go anyway. So we turned around, came back, and I sold it.
Never got on it again.
Never got on it again, but it would be a good exercise for someone who has kept up with biking.
It's a great exercise, and we have some wonderful group cycling instructors that really run the participants through a couple of nice courses.
Well, that's good. And it sounds like we need to move on to
let's do it.
we'll say goodbye to the fish. We don't have a name for the fish.
You know, after 50 years, I don't know that we've ever named the marlin fish, so we'll have to come up with
Well, you know,
a
all
name.
of you
That'd be a
out
good
there
contest.
Yeah, it
watching,
would be a good
all of
contest.
these people out there watching could submit, because see, AJ's got a line to go indirect. We could get a group decision as to what to name the marlin.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's do it.
it's all up to you guys.
Okay, so we're here now in the hallway of the second
floor.
Second floor, and we noticed some placards on the wall, which are charter members for 1963 and also
1977 on the other
Yes.
side here.
So, can you tell us a little bit about these?
Sure. So this is the 1963 donor board that hung in the vestibule across the street of the current building for when that capital campaign took place in 1961 and 1962. That building opened in 1963, and all of those individuals made that building possible. As a matter of fact, a lot of those individuals, or at least their families, are still involved in our community, are still members at the Y. And our capital campaign chairman, Steve Staley, who did an absolutely fantastic job, if you hadn't noticed, contacted just about every single one of those individuals that's still with us, or at least some of their family members. And, you know, you talk about legacy. Many of those individuals continued their family's legacy. Some of the individuals on that list were 2 or 3 years old when the building across the street started. And, you know, now their names will be carried into this building, not only on this 1963 list, but also on the donor list that's displayed in our lobby.
Very nice.
Well, that's
So
real
you
exciting.
have another donor list in the lobby
We do,
downstairs?
we do,
Okay.
we do. We can maybe look at that on the way out the front
Sure.
door.
Okay.
That sounds like a good idea.
All right. Well, okay, so now we're in the Field House, which is a beautiful venue. And can you tell me what it's used for?
Sure. So this space will be used for lots of different activities. Obviously, a lot of basketball will take place up here. There are 2 full-size basketball courts, regulation size, that are end-to-end. Each of those basketball courts have height-adjustable side rims, so we can raise and lower those basketball standards. For our younger kids, they'll drop down to 8 feet. There's a track that goes around the perimeter of this space.
How long is that?
So if we use the inside white line, it's 8 laps per mile.
Okay.
Comparatively speaking, across the street, it's 13 laps per mile in our current 3rd floor gym. We'll also have pickleball. As you all know, pickleball is a very popular sport. We have lots of pickleball players,
Very big. Yeah.
especially during inclement weather months. So the green floor that you see, there's 3 pickleball courts on each basketball court. So the white lines with the green floor is pickleball. The red line that you see on each of the basketball courts is for volleyball. And then, of course, the black line are the basketball lines.
So does that confuse people when you're playing, though? You got all these different lines to concern yourself with. I suppose you only worry about the one you're doing.
That's exactly right. It will confuse people a little bit, but most folks are used to it, especially basketball players. You've seen some of the college basketball courts. There's so many designs and graphics on them. But yeah, most folks will understand exactly, you know, what line they're using.
This is a humongous room. It's amazing to me.
We use the term game changer a lot in this process, and this will certainly be a game changer for what it is that we'll be able to offer the community. This space is 298 feet from south end to the north end.
Street to street.
Almost street to street. Almost street to street. It's about a 22,000 square foot space. And we've always wanted a field house. You know, we opened our field house at the Robinson branch in October of 2018, and it's been very popular since we opened it. So this field house was similarly designed. The architect's intent in this space was to make it feel like it was a reclaimed industrial space. We've been endearingly calling it the airport hangar because the large translucent window panels on each end make it feel like those are hangar doors that are going to open.
Lift those up, we could
You could
fly right out of here.
Fly right in and out of here.
Well, I've got a question, though. This is to design this building was a lot of work. And of course, you hire architects who know what they're doing to start with. But how much work is that on you?
We had a fantastic team of individuals. We had lots of task force We had a building and grounds task force that participated in this project. Our architects did an absolutely fantastic job. Of course, you know, we've been talking about building a building over here for a little over 2 decades now. Our architects, Taylor Architects out of Muncie, Indiana, had already had a preliminary design. So obviously they put a lot of work and effort into this, but it's also been something they'd been thinking about for about 20 years.
Well, I still come to this corner to go to my doctor, and then I realize I have to go up the hill because you bought his office and tore it down.
Dr. Luna was very helpful. Had we not had Dr. Luna's space, this project wouldn't have happened on this corner.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
Okay, so is there anything else you can tell us about this space?
Sure. I will mention one more thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't. So on the north end of this facility, there is a net 5-sided net turf area. That 5-sided net turf area will be used for basketball. Football can be played in there. I'm sorry, I say basketball, I meant soccer. Soccer can be played in there. Football can be played in there. It's also a baseball-friendly net, and that's why we wanted a 5-sided net so the baseballs would not hit the ceiling. Baseball just won't happen indiscriminately. It'll be at scheduled times.
Sure.
And then the other thing that we did is we still have some racquetball players. So we have 2 racquetball courts up here on the 3rd floor,
Nice.
and they're beautiful. They look pretty much exactly like the old courts we have now, just 50 years newer and
I
nice.
used to play racquetball at one time.
Pickleball's a new thing. I
lot
hadn't
of the-
heard of pickleball for the longest time, and now all of a sudden it's very popular, it seems like.
very popular. A lot of our old racquetball players that used to play racquetball are now playing pickleball. So, but there's still a couple dozen racquetball players, and I think the new courts, especially being air conditioned, will attract some new racquetball players.
Again, I like the lighting in here. So much natural lighting.
There's a lot of natural lighting. Of course, all the lights in the building are on LED lights, and they're all on occupancy sensors.
Very good. Yeah.
So we're anticipating that we'll see some utility savings and just some operational costs.
So there's probably not another Y near here that's halfway as good as this. This seems to be state of the art all the way around.
It is state of the art. There are some nice YMCA facilities around Ohio. We're really fortunate for that. Our Robinson branch is a really nice space. You know, we used to call it the new Y. Our Robinson branch is now in its 25th year of existence. So it's not our new branch anymore. So our efforts will be focused on the Robinson branch once we get this building opened and making some cosmetic improvements down there.
Okay. Well, guess where we are now? In the pool area, and it's absolutely amazing. You've got a special name for it, though. What is it? It's not the pool area.
We call it the natatorium.
The natatorium.
natatorium.
Now, let me just talk about the features in here because there's some really cool ones, and I need you to
Absolutely,
explain them.
yeah.
Number one, this looks like a playground, and that ramp looks to me like a really impressive thing that could be used by a lot of people.
A lot of people. That's an ADA accessible handicap ramp. The majority of folks that will use the small pool will likely use that ramp regardless of whether they need it or not. This pool will not require a lift chair. We've got a lift chair in the large pool for folks that can't do steps or can't do ladders. But obviously with the ADA ramp, we did need one for this pool. This pool is about twice the size of either of our current small pools at the current Piqua branch or at the Robinson branch. Having this larger pool will allow us to have multiple activities going on at the same time in this pool, classes and maybe have part of it open to the membership. And then the play feature in the center is just a nice addition for the kids. The buckets fill up with water and then they dump water. We can turn that feature on and off independent of the pool pumps for folks that don't want to get their hair wet.
You know, once in a while, a long time ago, I had a pool, and when I had a pool, all the little old ladies sitting around the edge got into a fit every time a kid splashed.
Yep.
And I told them they need to go somewhere else because the kids are playing, and that's what they're supposed to do.
We have a lot of folks that don't like to get their hair wet, and that's okay. So from noon to 1 is also adult swim. So from noon to 1, there aren't any youth typically in the natatorium at that time. Unless
That's
it's
when
some
I'd
kind-
want to do it. I'd want to wet them down.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, look, and we turn around and we've got the larger pool in the natatorium, and it's you tell me
yep.
that it's almost that it is Olympic size.
This is a 25-meter regulation size pool with 6 lanes. It's very similar to the 25-meter regulation pool we have across the street. There is a diving board. It's the only indoor diving board in Miami County, so that was important to have as a part of this project. It's almost like a rite of passage for a lot of the kids in the swimming lesson program to be able to build up to that chance to go off the board. And this was a nice added feature. This is a set of stairs. Sometimes folks aren't able to go up and down a straight ladder, and then they may not want to get in the lift chair just because the lift chair can obviously put you on display. But most people can go up and down the steps. So
I could probably handle that.
well, most people can.
Let's talk about the windows.
Sure.
I think the windows are really amazing. I really appreciate the round windows.
One of the things you'll notice in this building when you come visit, there's a lot of radius walls and a lot of round architectural features. The windows are certainly our most prominent because that's what you see from outside. So our architect's intent was to make this space feel nautical or aquatic. So when you look, we look at round windows like a porthole, you think of aquatics or nautical themes. And then if you look at the windows along the east wall, they're set up to look like a wave. And most of the windows you'll see in this building are those translucent window panes. The intent of those windows is to allow the natural light to come in, but to keep some of the heat out and also some of the glare that the sun can provide on the surface of a pool.
I can tell you it's pretty warm in here. You
It's-
people out there better appreciate the fact we're in here in full clothes because I'm hot.
This space is not designed for folks that are fully clothed. No.
And I can tell that
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
It's a beautiful space, and I do like the way, like you said, they've made rounded edges and all that. It just smooths it out and makes it just very nice. I mean,
Thank you. Our architect again did a fantastic job designing this, and the rounded the round column covers that you see have also really helped with the acoustics in this space.
Yeah.
We're standing here talking now, and we're not yelling at each other.
right.
And now you know what we're going to do. Move.
Let's do it.
Okay. AJ, we're going on to the next place. Well, I'm really excited about this patio because it looks like a great place to have lunch.
It'll be a great space, absolutely. Being downtown and taking up most of the block, we didn't have lots of outdoor opportunities. So having this outdoor space will really come in handy for basketball parties, birthday parties.
And this space that we're in, what is it being called?
Sure. So this is the multi-purpose gymnasium or the family gymnasium. This space will be mostly for families with children at 7th grade and under. Right now, if we have a no school day in our current basketball gym across the street, and it fills up with 15, 20 teenage kids, which is great. We're welcome all the teenagers to come in, but then there's no place for the younger kids to go and play basketball, or no place for families to come in. So this space will be used for that.
Okay. And we got Ronald watching.
We do. We're right
Ronald
across the street
McDonald's
from-
right across the
from
street,
Scott
and he's
Family
watching
McDonald's.
everything we're
Yep.
doing over
Ronald's
here.
keeping an eye on us. So in the outdoor space, we'll have cornhole boards. There's some picnic tables out there. So again, on a nice weather day like today, we'll raise the doors and the kids and families in this space can go in and out. That's not an access point into the building. The fence that goes around the property is just that. There's no access point, so this won't be a space where folks could actually get into the building.
Okay, we're going to meet you in the lobby now.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, now we're in the lobby. That's the reverse of what's normal.
It is.
Usually
That's
you
all right.
come in first and you're in the lobby. But I wanted to save the lobby for last because there's some pretty important and impressive stuff in here, and I want you to talk about that.
Certainly. Yes, right behind us on the wall is our donor board. There's 534 donors on this board, if you can imagine that. The generosity in our community was unbelievable. Again, Steve Staley, our campaign chairman, did a bang-up job. Elizabeth Gutman, our board president, she pushed us into this project in a good way about 5 years ago.
Sorry about that, but we're going to shut that sucker off.
That's all right. And ended up serving 3 terms as president during this project, just for continuity. So out of those 534 donors on this board, All of those gifts range between $20 up to several $1,000,000. And all of our donors are listed alphabetically, regardless of dollar amount.
That's good.
Yeah, so again, a $20 contribution to this project was very important. And we've been calling this the Every Person's Campaign. So you'll notice a lot of younger children's names on this board. Some of our donors made contributions in honor of their children. Some grandparents made contributions in honor of their grandchildren. So in 30, 40 years, if we're fortunate enough to still have them as members at the Y, their names will be on this board into perpetuity.
That's really exciting. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time today to do the tour,
Absolutely.
and I've got a gift for you.
Yeah, it's okay. You never know with Don.
All right.
Well, today happens to be Red Rose Day.
Oh, is that right?
So I bought you
Oh,
a red
all right.
rose. Now, I want you to understand something. I'm not taking you out for dinner or anything.
Oh, good,
This
good,
red rose
good.
is going to be a representation. You're going to take that home and give that to your wife because she's done without you for a lot of hours while you've been doing all this.
been-
So I'm suggesting that you go get 11 more and give her a dozen. So
I'll do
anyway,
that. I'll
you've got
do
your
that.
red rose. I really appreciate the time you've spent here today.
Let me
And I
mention
wish we could have been a lot longer because there's a lot more to see, and you're going to get to see that in about a month to 6 weeks.
Give me 30 seconds.
Okay, go.
Sure.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention all of our staff. Our staff has been absolutely incredible and supportive of this project. The whole crew, they've been just absolutely incredible to make this project happen. I'm not going to name all of them, but they'll be here during our ceremony and our grand opening. And again, they've all just been absolutely fantastic, and we wouldn't have been able to accomplish this without all of their assistance.
And I can tell you that Jim McMacken is extremely excited, and it's really hard to get him to stop talking.
Yeah.
It's really a cool place.
Which is, it's a beautiful place, and we're excited that we were able to get a tour, and thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was an exciting tour, and again, we just like to thank Jim McMacken for the tour. It was really amazing, and there's parts of it that we didn't even get to see. So hopefully we might, never know, we may come back and see those parts that we didn't get to see, or see all the parts that we did see in action. So, but it was awesome. It was really a beautiful
Like
facility.
you expect, it's a new place, and it's absolutely state-of-the-art, and there are so many cool features that you're going to enjoy as the years go by here, as people start using this new Y. But we were talking a little bit about Juneteenth, too.
Yes. Okay, so Juneteenth is coming up. That's 19th of June, and it's a significant meaning, and I wasn't really sure about what the meaning was, or how it went, but I did look into it and found some history about it. And it's a new national holiday, or fairly new. It was in 2021 that it became a national holiday.
Yeah, it's the newest one.
The newest one. And the history behind that is really, I think, important for us to really know. On June 19th, 1865, a Major General Gordon Granger issued General Order Number 3, which informed the people of Texas that all enslaved individuals were now free. This day has come to be known as Juneteenth, combining the month of June and the 19th day. Now, I know the Emancipation Proclamation was issued by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, but it was for the states, the Confederate states, that the slaves would be free. So it did not include like Texas and all that, the surrounding states. So what happened was General Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, on June of 1865, and signed, told everyone about the Order Number 3, and he signed the freedom for Texas. Approximately 250,000 enslaved people were set free. Now, the interesting thing about that was
that the owners of the slaves didn't necessarily inform them of that until after the harvest was done. That's harvest season. But then after that, the Jubilee started, and it was just a fun time. But I think it's really important to remember that Juneteenth is a powerful reminder of resilience, freedom, and the ongoing struggle of equality. It officially became a holiday in 2021, recognizing its significance in American history. And I think it's really important for us to remember that and what it stands for.
And Larry Hamilton, I think, is preparing a program on Juneteenth to commemorate what has occurred on that date. So that's really an exciting thing to have happen. Do you have any more activities?
Yeah, a few. Here on June 21st, it's Fridays on Prouty Concert, and this will be with the Cleveland Keys Dueling Pianos. Now, the Prouty Plaza is in downtown Troy, and that's from June 21st at 7:30 to 9 p.m., and it's dueling pianos, and that's always fun. I know when we were in New Orleans once, and we went into a place that had dueling pianos, and we had a blast. It was just so much fun. So that's something that you might want to consider, and that's, like I said, June 21st, 7:30 to 9 p.m., and it's free, so take advantage. And then another concert on the Prouty Plaza is June 28th, Friday, June 28th, and that's at 7:30 p.m. And this one is Dullahan. Again, it's the Celtic stuff that really gets me sometimes. It's Dullahan, which is a Celtic American band, and it plays homage to traditional Celtic harmonies and instrumentations and language styles. So that ought to be very, very interesting. So one other real quick event, which I didn't know about, and I think it's amazing, but it's Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy. Now, this happens in the Fort Piqua Plaza Conference Center. And what it is Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy's chilling cocktail experience in Piqua that brings 4 of his stories off the page and onto the stage as told through the Poe historians while pairing them with 4 classic cocktails. So it sounds really, really interesting, but for tickets are like $45, and you can go to the website www.eventbrite, eventbrite.com for more information, /E/Edgar Allan Poe, to get more information on that. But it sounds like it would be a fun event. So that's about, I got one more, Pleasant Hill. Pleasant Hill lights up the night. That's June 29th, and it's a Saturday, and it's at the Village Community Park. The day starts at 11 a.m. And has, I think it was a parade and so much, just a lot of good things, bouncy houses, food trucks, craft vendors, and even fireworks. So it ought to be a lot of fun. So that's what's happening right now of the events that I have.
Well, I've got some trivia. We're going to do a little bit of trivia, not too much, and we're not going to be able to do birthdays because we've spent a lot of time at the Y, and we don't want to get the program to be too long because AJ's looking at me kind of funny already. So anyway, did you know that there are 3 Piquas? Piqua in 3 different states.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, and we're the biggest.
Oh,
Piqua,
really?
Ohio has 20,835 residents. Now that's kind of interesting because I was in high school in the 60s and there were 20,000 residents then. So we're not growing too fast here, but we are the biggest one because in Kansas they have residents 64. It declined from 72. I think they moved here. I'm not sure, but they only have 64 residents currently in the Kansas Piqua. And then in Kentucky, there's a Piqua. And in Kentucky Piqua, there's 2,073 residents. So we win the contest on that one. We've got the most residents. And I thought it was interesting to see there's 5 Don Smiths in Piqua, you know. And that was another thing. I thought about that. And out of that 5 Don Smiths, 2 of them are deceased now. And that's really sad, because when you watch a program, when you wake up in the morning, look at the newspaper, and you see your own obituary in the newspaper, it's not pretty. And and unfortunately,
It's shocking.
Don Miller Smith has passed away in the last couple of weeks, and such a nice gentleman. All us Don Smiths know each other, kind of, and he was pretty special, and we're going to miss him being around. Then, you know, we talked last time about the Aunt Jemima pancake mix.
Yes.
That was a pretty good thing. And I decided, well, let's find out something else. Well, let's talk Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid came to be in 1927. Now, Edwin Perkins. Now, I would have thought that's another pancake place, because, you know, Perkins and all.
Pancakes, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. But in Hastings, Nebraska, he was looking at Jell-O thinking, wouldn't it be good to drink it? And obviously, you can't drink Jell-O after too long because it gets all solid. My mom used to feed me Jell-O warm when I was sick. Oh, it's delicious. AJ's making a big old face, but I'm telling you, it is delicious, especially when you have
yeah.
a sore throat. It's good. So anyway,
Okay,
they
if you
made
say
it
so.
into they made it into a liquid and bottled it and tried to sell it, and that was Kool-Aid. However, they couldn't get the bottles where they needed to be without breaking them. So they kind of got irritated after a while, and they figured out how to dry it out and come up with a powder. And that's how Kool-Aid came to be. And we have to thank Edwin Perkins in 1927 for making a Kool-Aid mix like we see today in Nebraska, Hastings, you know.
Okay.
So that was one. And then the last program we talked about potatoes. We planted potatoes. Remember the first time? You remember where we planted them? What state?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, that's
Hampshire,
right.
yeah.
Don't second guess it. And if you'd have been wrong, I'd have just said, yep, that's right. Anyway, it's so we planted potatoes back then. Well, now I found out the important thing about potatoes. There is a potato festival, and the potato festival is in Clark, South Dakota. So you got to go to South Dakota. Well, you don't have to go yet. It's August 2nd through the 4th.
Okay.
And they have the most impressive event. Can you imagine what the most impressive event of the Potato Festival is?
Not particularly. Potato wrestling.
Potato wrestling is the big event. AJ seems to be prepared to go do
Okay.
that. By the way, one of these days you're going to have to see AJ on the screen, because he's the guy who's telling us what to do and what not to do, and pretty much we don't pay
They
attention.
know what I look like. They see me.
So anyway, and then we all know about the Red Rose, because we gave that to Jim,
Yes,
and
yes.
today's Red Rose Day, so you should all go buy
Right.
a Red Rose. I was kind of shocked at what they cost. I bought one, and that was pretty expensive, and I was
Yeah.
surprised. But anyway, that's life. And the last thing we should talk about is Vice Admiral Phil Weisskopf was honored last weekend, or a little while back, and it was a great presentation out at the new, what I call the new high school. He graduated from Piqua Central High School, but he was honored at Piqua High School a couple of weeks ago, and it was a really nice thing. But that's about everything I think we've got for this
yep.
time.
I just want to remind everybody that our next show is June 26th at 6 p.m. on Channel 5 and on YouTube. And we still would like you to contact us with good, bad comments, whatever, suggestions. And if you have any events that you'd like us to cover, please let us know. And you can email us at gangera@piqua.org, GANGERA@piqua.org. So,
Well, Brenda didn't pay attention to that because she called me directly and told me
Well,
about
if-
all those berries.
that's 'cause she knows you.
Anyway, yeah, probably because she's across the street.
Yeah.
But she was still watching the program when she called me.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing. But I'm Don Smith,
and I'm Bill Cartwright.
and thanks for watching. Until next time,
What's happening, Miami County?